Today on the Banjo Says podcast, I'll be discussing why I'm not allowed to criticize anyone who gets more views or earns more money than me, and then I'll be answering a whole bunch of your questions, including how I got into microphones and reviewing them, so go ahead and stick around. Now, before we jump into the hot topic issue about why you need to shut your mouth and never criticize the elites, I want to share what I've been testing, and I'm going to say the thing, you are currently listening to it. You're currently listening to it. It's the Beyer Dynamic M90 Pro X. Why am I so annoying today? I do not know. Full disclosure, Beyer Dynamic did send this to me so I could review it. I will be doing that in about a month or so. Just wanted to get a few uses out of it on the podcast other than my other testing that I do. This costs $350. I should be using the pop filter that comes with it, but I'm not. I'm not using it. I'm not doing that right now. I wanted a smaller pop filter because I want you to be able to see the glory that is on my upper lip. It's not disgusting at all. That's what I'm using today. I'm not going to share any opinions about it because I want you to generate your own thoughts and opinions without me tainting them. And I went through the news. None of it seemed interesting enough to talk about or relevant enough to talk about. So we're jumping to what you had to say. And the first comment comes from the critical thinker of the century, Amir Mordechai. He says, "It's funny how you judge other people's careers, but you don't get 1,000 views per video." Damn. How does anybody come back from this? This is brutal. I'm never going to recover from this. If I had a white flag, I would raise it and fly it, because I know when to admit defeat. And this comment defeats me. Amir is 100% correct. I should not be and cannot be criticizing anyone who gets more views than me on this specific channel. I get 1,000 views per video. I can't criticize anyone who gets more than 1,000 views per video, especially when the thing I'm criticizing them for has nothing to do with views. I just need to learn my place and learn when to keep my mouth shut. It's exactly why I have the idea that nobody can criticize presidents other than other ex-presidents. We can't criticize Joe Biden. We can't criticize Donald Trump. We're not presidents. How dare we criticize him? It's why I stand firmly in the camp of leave Elon alone. Leave Elon alone. What did he do to you? Are you a billionaire? Do you build rockets? Did you democratize electric? No. How dare you criticize Elon Musk, you scum? Leave Elon alone. Clearly, I was being facetious. Everything I just said was sarcasm if you did not pick up on that. And let me drop the bits for a second. I truly believe that Amir's comments is one of the dumbest takes that I have ever received on this channel. 100%, I am not joking. This is one of the dumbest takes I have ever received in the comments. And let me tell you, I have received some very dumb takes in the comments. I don't care if I am getting 5 views per video. If there are creators who are jeopardizing an entire platform due to their lack of awareness of the law or their blatant disregard for the law, I believe they deserve to be criticized, whether I have 1, 5, 10, 100 million views per video. I believe I have the right, and I won't go so far as to say duty, but I have the right to criticize them. I don't think it's funny at all. Now, what would be funny is if there are creators who are getting 10 million views per video, and then I am getting 5, and then these creators put out strategies saying, here's how you get 10 million views per video, and then me over here with my 5 views stands up on my soapbox and says, they're idiots, don't listen to them, they don't know what they're doing, listen to me instead, here's my strategy on how to get 10 million views per video, ignore the fact that I'm getting 5 views per video. That would be funny. But that's not the case. The case here is the largest streamers on the entire Twitch platform are jeopardizing all of Twitch by their actions. If I was a Twitch streamer, I would be much more angry than I am. Right now, I'm mildly annoyed by their actions. And the reason for that is if legal action is taken against these streamers, the laws aren't going to focus only on Twitch. They are going to be overarching laws and regulations that impact every single online content creator. their actions are not just impacting them, they are putting at risk every single online content creator. So call me crazy, but I think that even if I'm only getting 1,000 or 2,000 views per episode of my podcast, I still have the right and maybe even duty to criticize the people who are jeopardizing the entire Twitch platform and online video content creators as a whole. So my advice to Amir would be, have a good day. Have a wonderful day, Amir. Have a fun day full of supporting the largest creators on a platform who are disregarding the rules and having a direct negative impact on the small people on the platform. Because we all know that top 1% is the one that deserves our respect and our support and our backing and our defense. The little people don't matter. They're not even people. The little scum at the bottom, they deserve to be trampled on for the benefit of the large folks. I get it. Have fun, Amir. I appreciate you so much. Let's jump to the next comment, which comes from the Unboxer of Worlds. They say, while I have no intention of broadcasting someone else's intellectual property, I don't understand why all the revenue has to go to the copyright holder when a video is flagged. That's like saying the only thing of value in the video is the copyrighted portion. Unboxer of Worlds, I appreciate the comment and I understand the annoyance with it. I'm guessing it's probably due to ease, because if you think through it, there would probably have to be some kind of calculation to determine what kind of value is added to each individual video that uses copyrighted material. That would be very difficult to do for every single copyright infraction. Therefore, they're likely to choose the easiest path forward, and that would just be 100% of the revenue goes to the copyright claimant, unless the copyright holder does choose revenue share, which is an option which I didn't mention last week. Some copyright holders do that, but the majority of them say, yeah, just give me all the money. Another option could be this is just a method of discouraging people to use copyrighted material. Or if you want to get a little bit more conspiratorial, we're not going to go into the conspiracy corner or anything, but maybe it's just a payoff, a bribe. Hey, we're going to give you 100% of everything that you copyright claim. Just don't sue us. In my opinion, it could be any of those things. Ease of use, it could be discouraging the use of copyrighted material, or it could be a bribe or payoff or something like that. I don't know. That's my take on it, but you raise a very interesting point. Why does all the revenue go to the copyright holder when the copyrighted material can make up less than 1% of the entire video? I think it would be difficult to quantify the value added to the content because of the copyrighted material. Next comment comes from the Forgotten Times, and they say, I assume the Bobcat reference means that the Police Academy movies are getting watched. That's exactly what it means. I have been watching through the Police Academy box set because I bought it a couple of years ago and I figured I need to watch them sometime, and yikes! Yikes is all I can really say. I've made it up through Police Academy 5. They really fall off, don't they? No offense to the filmmakers, it's just not my cup of tea. Very redundant jokes and very repetitive plot points and characters that you don't really care about. But I understand the appeal of them. They're goofy, and if you saw them when they came out and you were young, nostalgia, I get it. Just not for me in 2022. But because you did bring up Bobcat, I will recommend a Bobcat Goldthwait movie. It's not going to be God Bless America. Very interesting movie, kind of self-deprecating, but I'm going to recommend Bobcat's movie Willow Creek. It's a movie about Bigfoot. It's a found footage film, and it's a little bit goofy at points, but it has one of the most tense scenes that I've ever seen on film. Really, really effective Bigfoot movie. If you're into that kind of stuff, found footage, horror with a bit of campiness, directed by Bobcat Goldthwait, go watch Willow Creek to give Bobcat the respect he deserves. He's actually a very good director. I like his work. And that's it for What You Had to Say. Let's jump to my favorite part of the show, the Ask Bandrew segment. All right, welcome to the Ask Bandrew segment. If you have questions, go to askbandrew.com. Askbandrew.com. That's not Ask Banju. That's not Ask Banjo. It's not Ask Bander. Ask Bandrew. Bandrew. YouTube, learn how to spell my name. It's not Banjo, you jerks. You can send in audio, video, or text questions. I do prefer audio and video because then I don't have to read. Go ahead and check it out and send them in. First, we have a voice submission from Alex. Take it away, Alex.
Hello, Bandrew. My name Alex. I am from Ukraine, city Mariupol. And there is questions I have for you. What microphone can you recommend for proximity effect with good background noise rejection? I already have a C Electronics V7X, Audio-Technica Pro 41, and the Rode Pod mic, but I'm not happy with that microphone, so I want something better. What can you recommend for proximity effect with good background noise rejection, because my PC is too loud for Rode Pod mic? Thank you for your time.
Alex, thank you very much for the voice submission. You are asking a microphone with proximity effect that does good at background noise rejection. I have not recorded this yet because I forgot to do it, but I am going to record a quick sample with a microphone that I think matches this description or requirement the best. So future Bandrew, get to recording and include it right here. Future Bandrew, who is editing. Do it. And here is the microphone that I think best meet those criteria of having proximity effect and being great at background noise rejection. This is the Rode Procaster, $230. And as you can hear, when you get right on top of it, you really engage that warmth, that proximity effect. And when I did my best broadcast dynamic microphone video where I compared all of the broadcast dynamics that were out at that time, I found that the Procaster did the best job at background noise rejection. One big downside to this, all the air. Terrible with plosives, so you will need a pop filter, big fat foam windscreen, something like that. But if you're looking for proximity effect and background noise rejection, I think this one does it very well. Hopefully that was helpful, Alex. Let me jump back to past self and close out the email and go to whatever I do. I don't know what I do. Okay. Whatever. Alex, thank you again for the voice submission. Hopefully that was helpful. Next, we have an email from Boromir. They say, "Greetings, do you perhaps happen to have any recommendations when it comes to hardware audio compressors? And if possible, ones that happen not to be made in China? It's China! I'd be most obliged for any hints and suggestions. I am aware this can be done either in OBS or in post-production of a recording, and that maybe it might be better not to bake in the compression if one can help it. But for more live applications like streaming or teleteaching, the concept of having a little box with easily adjustable knobs for that purpose is extremely tempting. And yes, there are many videos on this topic, but most of them sound like they're trying to sell stuff to the viewers, not being critical to a satisfying degree, something that you tend to be good at, being more critical, that is." Are you saying that I seem like I'm trying to sell stuff? Oh, no. Please, God, no. Your input on the topic could thus be of great value and greatly appreciated. First off, you understand why I like audio and video, because you could tell how poor I am at reading. And secondly, I hope you're not saying that it seems as though I'm trying to sell stuff, because you say I'm good at being more critical, but you don't say I'm good at seeming like I'm not trying to sell stuff. Now I'm super self-conscious. No, I don't want to contribute to mass consumerism, overconsumption. That would be terrible. But to get to the actual question, you're asking about outboard compressors. This gets difficult because you're not able to run a microphone directly into a compressor. You need to run a microphone through a preamplifier and then into a compressor. So you would either need to find an outboard preamp and an outboard compressor, or you would need to find an audio interface that has inserts. What inserts allow you to do is send the post-preamp signal out of the interface or out of the preamp, then into an outboard effects unit, and then bring it back into the interface or the preamp, and then route it through your computer or through the line output of your pre. Most interfaces do not have that, though. This is a very rare thing. So I think your best course of action is going to be some kind of outboard preamp and compressor or mix of the two. The most versatile option available would probably be building a 500 series rack, although that can get a bit expensive. You would need the rack, you would need a 500 series preamp, and then a 500 series compressor. So that would get a little bit expensive, especially if you're trying to avoid gear that is not made in China, because, buying stuff not made in China gets very expensive. The other option would be a standalone unit that has a preamp and a compressor. And I don't have much experience with this. I have two units that do that. First one being a Rupert Neve Designs Portico 5017. I think that's $1,100, but it is made in the USA. I believe it's made in Texas, actually. And that thing's just amazing sounding. But the compressor is just a single dial, so you don't have much control over it. The other option that I have experience with is the Universal Audio LA610 Mark II. That, I think, goes for $1,700 or $1,800 now. I haven't looked at it in years, but with inflation, I'm guessing $1,800. It's a tube preamp, so not the cleanest. It's going to be a little bit noisier than most solid-state stuff. But then you have this amazing... I love it. I love optical compressors so much. That's why I got the LA610, because I wanted that optical compressor, because that mimics the LA2A. I can't afford an LA2A, which is what? $4,000 for a standalone leveling amp? I can't afford that. So this was my happy middle ground to get an analog optical compressor. So those are the routes I would go. There are some interfaces. I can't remember what they are. Behringer makes one that has inserts. And then you could do something like an RNC. Just look up a really nice compressor. That's an outboard compressor. It's a little box. I think it's $300, $400. So it's very affordable. But I don't know the manufacturing location of that. It's really going to be quite expensive if you want to avoid stuff that's made in China. Hopefully that was helpful. If anybody else has recommendations, the DBX286S, I'm pretty sure that is made in China, but that is $290, maybe, no, $230. Preamp, compressor, very limited EQ style section, de-esser, and noise gate. There's a reason it's so popular. It does pretty much everything you need at a very affordable price. Is it the greatest at all of it? No, but it's functional. So if you're looking for budget, DBX286S. If you are looking for non-made in China stuff, 500 series rack, that's going to add up. Or Rupert Neve Designs, very expensive. Or Universal Audio, very expensive. And if I didn't mention, I believe the LA610 also made in the US. You could also go Manly. They have I believe they have like a $4,000 channel strip which has a compressor in it. Something like that. It's not cheap. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay, let's jump to another video submission. This comes from a different Amir, not the same Amir. This Amir I like. The other Amir from earlier left the comment I don't like. Let's jump to the good Amir. Take it away, Amir.
Hello, Bandrew of the Bandrew Says podcast. It is I again with another question. And I just want to ask you a more personal question this time on what started your journey and your liking of microphones and what made you start it as a hobby and now coincidentally, your job. For me, I think this thing that actually sparked my hobby, sparked like my liking of microphones, is a friend lending me his, I think it was a BM700, and just me recording by myself and actually liking how I sound through that microphone when recording. Because all of like the microphones I've owned before are either just like from headsets and one of those like desk mics. Wait, I still have it actually here. This is like one of like my first microphones that I actually used back when I was like in high school, and yeah, I still keep it around for some reason. If I feel like, you know, oh, I look at this thing. It's long. It's Mika microphone. Hello. So yeah, I just kind of want to know what was your experience and like what started you in this journey, this microphone loving journey, reviewing journey. And also, just a side note, I'm using a different microphone now. This is the Behringer XM8500. I don't know if you can actually see it from like how I set it up now. I actually repurposed a BM800 shock mount, just so even if it's like I'm tapping something or like I'm very noisy on my desk sometimes, it doesn't get to pick it up. It's better than what it came in the box, at least. And thank you for answering this question when you do get to it.
Amir, that is a great question. Thank you very much for the voice submission. What started my journey into liking microphones and reviewing microphones? What led to me adopting this hobby? And what led to me making it my job? First thing I want to say, this is not my job. This is not my main source of income. I still have a 9-to-5 job that I work because I don't trust YouTube. I don't trust Google. I don't trust Amazon. I don't trust Patreon. I don't trust any of these platforms to be reliable enough to make them my primary source of income. I don't trust it. I'm too risk averse for that. So I still work 2,000 hours a year at a normal 9-to-5 job. I put numbers in Excel because I know that's the inevitable follow-up question. I won't tell anybody any more than that because it's not important. I put numbers in Excel. That's my day job. With that being said, let's explore my microphone journey. It all started in high school, not out of desire to be a recording engineer or anything, but out of necessity. Recording studios are very, very expensive. When you're in high school, you likely don't have a lot of income, so you have a very limited budget when it comes to recording. So the solution that we came up with was little tape recorders with the built-in microphone, or a cheap Radio Shack dynamic microphone plugged into the motherboard of a Windows PC, recording into Windows audio recorder. That's what started it all. That's where it all began. And I'll tell you what, it sounded like we were running a cheap Radio Shack dynamic into the motherboard of a PC. Sounded about as good as you would expect. Whenever we did want to get a proper recording, we would work for months and save up to get some studio time, or there were some recording schools nearby that they needed bands to record for their finals. We would go in and let them record us, and we would perform poorly, but they would get experience recording it. We would get a very amateur-sounding recording out of it, but it was a lot better than a microphone running into a motherboard. And it was all on analog gear. Recording to tape is so cool, but so difficult. Very, very difficult. You're not getting punch-ins. One take it, son of a gun. Then in college, it was the exact same story, having very minimal income, so recording demos ourselves out of necessity with cheap microphones. I think at this point I had a Behringer USB mixer, which I didn't know how to use properly. I think I had an SM57 or an SM58 at this point, and I used that on my YouTube channel. I recorded a cover of Emily from First to Last. I re-uploaded that on one of my channels. I can't remember which one. It sounds terrible. Do you want to know why? I had a ground loop issue, and I ran DI from this acoustic guitar instead of miking it up like an idiot. Because at the time, this is all just me learning. I had no idea what I was doing. I was figuring it out. I'm still figuring it out, but thank goodness I'm a lot better than I was. But it was just goofing around using the gear that we have to record demos, to songwrite, and then whenever we want a proper recording, pay to go to a studio, save up for months and months, and then go to a studio. Then at some point, I had an MXL Producer USB mic. That's a microphone that came out in maybe 2007, 2008, but it sounded like a USB microphone. It had that underlying digital RFI sound, that constant, terrible sound that you get, just like when you plug a microphone directly into a motherboard's microphone input. Sounds terrible. Eventually, I did upgrade and got an MXL 990 and 991 kit. I had an M Audio M Box, whatever the Pro Tools interface was, because I bought a Pro Tools kit there. Then I entered some songwriting competition. There used to be a lot of these songwriting online competition sites. I won an SM57 and a Blue Icicle for a songwriting competition, and I used that for a while. Then I sold the 990, 991 because I was broke and I needed money. I needed monies. Give me monies, please. I kept the 57 though because I actually think I still have it right here. Where are you? SM57? This is an SM57 that I won for songwriting. Or maybe it was a remix. A remix or songwriting. How cool is that? It's a decade old. And I was such a good songwriter or remixer that I won a microphone and a Blue Icicle. Anyway, I sold the 990, 991, kept the SM57. Really just focused on electronic music, so I didn't need microphones because I wasn't recording vocals or anything. It was just all digital and software synths. And years later, I got into podcasting, and I wanted to podcast with my friends. And I made the mistake that everybody made. I bought the microphones that I knew, which happened to be the MXL 990. So I got a couple of condenser microphones. It sounded terrible. Luckily, this podcast didn't last because I drank way too much, and I would drink whenever we recorded, and it would just go off the rails. So that did not last. Then I ended up selling those 990 microphones because they did not work. The podcast didn't last, like I mentioned, and I didn't record podcasts for a while. I got really into YouTube again, and I wanted to start making videos because I had made videos from 2005 to around 2009, and then I stopped because I was focusing on school stuff. And then around 2013, got really into YouTube again. The channel that did it for me was Tested, and I wanted to start making YouTube videos again. And the microphone I ended up buying for that was an SM58, because I did know they were incredibly durable. I had used them for years on stage, singing into them, yelling into them, telling people to quit fighting in the crowd through them. I got the 58 and started making very bad YouTube videos for a couple of years, trying to figure out video and how do you do all this? Syncing microphone audio with video, oh, that's such a headache. And now I just do it. It's really simple to do, but back then I hated the idea of it. But the day where it really kicked off for me, where I really started to go deep into it, was the 2nd of January 2015. That's the day that I quit drinking, and I didn't have any friends who didn't drink, so I needed to scream into the ether and get crap off of my chest. I think I was doing 2 or 3 episodes per week, just me yelling, just working through crap. Probably shouldn't have published it anywhere because it wasn't listenable, but I was using the SM58. Then at the time, my roommate, he ran a recording studio. He let me borrow an SM7B. And then after, I think it was 50 episodes, I ended up falling in love with the SM7B and buying it. And all around this time, I was trying to find videos that gave me the information that I wanted. And that information seems very obvious. Test the microphone you're reviewing. I couldn't find videos like that. So in May of 2015, I was asked by my company that I work for to move to a new city. I moved to a new city. I didn't know anyone here. I didn't drink. I had a little bit of extra money to spend, and I figured, hey, I have a very basic understanding of recording. Why don't I try to fill that niche? Why don't I try to provide people the information that I want but cannot find? So that's what it started with. And if you watch my early videos, you will see that I was not reviewing expensive microphones because I was broke as heck. I couldn't afford anything. It was a very difficult financial thing for me to do. And there were multiple times where I was thinking, I'm just going to quit. I can't afford to keep doing this. And that was reviewing NW700s and cheap $30 microphones. When I did the AT2020, I thought, oh my gosh, this is the most expensive microphone ever. Even though I had a $350 microphone, but this was a microphone that I bought to use solely for making a video. And I thought that was ridiculous. Now looking back, I wish all the mics that I reviewed cost $100. That would be nice. But that's really the journey. Out of necessity, I learned how to do it poorly, but I learned how to do it. And then out of wanting to create content, I tried to research microphones, couldn't find information that I wanted, so I decided to make the content with the information that I thought was useful. And hopefully that's something that a lot of people can learn from. Just make the content that you want to see, because if you don't want to watch your content, why would anybody else want to watch your content? You need to make the content that you want to see first. And then if it's good enough, other people will want to watch it as well. And also take feedback from people. And I don't know if there's anything to learn about quitting drinking. For me, that was a life-changing moment. It was really difficult. It was really difficult. I still don't have a social life because of it. But that was one of the, if not the most difficult things I've ever had to do. Because you're giving up your social life. Also, whatever dependency, if you want, I'm not going to go down that road, but you give up a lot when you give up drinking. But I would say that ultimately it was one of the most difficult, but also one of the greatest things that I did. One of the best decisions I made, because after that, got a promotion at work, moved to a new city, started a YouTube channel, and here I am. Because I have no social life. I don't know anyone here. So you could say, yeah, he's just a workaholic now, but it is what it is. Hopefully I didn't share too much. I'm sure I'm going to be embarrassed about that at some point, but there you go, Amir. Thank you for the question, and I appreciate you. Last, we have a voice submission from Chris. Take it away, Chris.
Hi, Bandrew. I'm a music creator that's been looking to upgrade my dinosaur version of Pro Tools for the current version because I can't use any aftermarket plugins and then none of them work. I'm currently on an MBrox 2 Pro from like 2007-ish with an SM57 on Pro Tools 8. But I was wondering, which interface would you recommend? I'd like something with at least 7 XLR inputs because I record drums with 7 microphones. Also, this is the first time I've recorded spoken word voiceover, so I hope it sounds fine. Anyway, you're a lot of fun. I love your podcast, and I love your review channel, Podcastage. Hope you have a good day.
Alrighty, recommendations for audio interfaces with 7 XLR ports for drum miking. I don't know about Pro Tools connectivity or compatibility because the last time I used it, you needed that little M Audio M box to actually use Pro Tools. You couldn't open up any sessions in Pro Tools without that interface connected. It was a terrible system that I hated. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think any audio interface is compatible with Pro Tools. If it's not the case, let me know. But I'm assuming that that is the case. And if that is true, the first option is going to be $500 or $550 rather, the Focusrite AT920. Very affordable. You get 8 microphone preamps. Are they the greatest sounding? No. Does it have the greatest A to D converter, D to A converter? No. But for $550, can you really complain? That's a killer deal for 8 preamps. If you want an improvement over the quality, the Arteria 8 Pre, that goes for $800, so $250 more. And then after that, I don't have any experience with any others until we get to nearly $3,000, the Universal Audio X8P. I don't have the X8P. I have the X4, so I have why couldn't I say 4? I have 4 XLR preamps, but the X8P has 8 XLR preamps. So if you want the top of the top, and if you mainly want access to the UAD plugin ecosystem, that's the route to go. But the Arteria or the Focusrite would be more than sufficient for you. Hopefully that was helpful though, Chris. One of those is going to be what I would recommend. If any other drummers out there have recommendations that are particularly good for drums, leave a comment on YouTube. That would be fun to see what you got to say. That's all it. That's all it. That's all it for comments and questions. That's all. Why did that turn into a song? And because I can't stop myself, we have another movie of the week. This week, the movie is Death Wish from 1974 with Charles Bronson with Chucky B. This is a pro-vigilante movie. That's right. A movie that is pro-vigilanteism. Absolutely insane. Now, we may look at the current crime wave going on, the increase in break-ins, the increase in muggings and watch crime and all of that and think, wow, this is really heckin' bad. Golly gee willikers. I really don't hope that I get robbed. But did I just say I really hope that I get robbed? I don't. I hope that I do not get robbed. Please do not rob me. But then I think, well, you know what? It hasn't gotten to a point where a major motion picture release is pro-vigilante. So I think that's what's so interesting about this. It captures a time where crime was at a point where it was socially acceptable to release a movie saying, yeah, shoot them. Shoot people who are mugging you. like how crazy is that? It really puts crap into perspective, doesn't it? At least in my opinion, it does. Is it politically correct? Absolutely not. But it captures a time in America that we are not currently accustomed to. A time in America that seems a lot more rough. It's a pure revenge movie, too. Because I don't want to give much away, but I guess it's not giving much away because it's right at the beginning. But his wife ends up getting killed by a bunch of people who break in and attack his wife and his daughter. And yeah, it's 100% worth a watch. It's not very action-packed. It's not story-heavy. Just pure revenge and pro-vigilante. Fascinating stuff. And I'm throwing in a quick bonus. Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. I rewatched this. I don't think I've seen this in a decade. The first one is so gosh darn good. When I had seen this growing up, I had not seen all of the 007s. After watching all of the James Bonds, it's great. It's really worth a watch. The second one and the third one, they're fine. But that first one really is something special. Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. Let me hold this up for you one more time. International Man of Mystery. Worth a watch if you want a giggle or two. And that is it for this episode. I appreciate you coming by. I appreciate you watching and or listening. You are a wonderful human being, and you are special. You're just a special individual. Oh, if you want to check, I did an interview on Audio Haze YouTube channel. Go check that out, Audio Haze. I did a chat with him about desert island microphones. But thank you so much for coming by. I appreciate you so much. If you're watching on YouTube and you liked it, thumbs up, hated it, thumbs down. And I hope you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will talk at you. I love you so much. Have an amazing week. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye. That was weird.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.